Welcome to Creating Yourself podcast. I'm your host, Paige. This is an inspirational podcast where guests come on and share their real life stories. They discuss their struggles, hardships, and traumas. They also discuss how those encounters have helped them change, grow, and the healing process they've experienced. They share where they are today in hopes of helping someone else who could be going through the same or similar situations. So join me as we inspire others weekly to become the best versions of themselves. Hey y'all, welcome into another episode of Creating Yourself podcast with me, your host Paige. Today I am honored to have on Annette with Legacy Ranch. She is going to be talking to us about her son who unfortunately took his life in May of 2023 because of a narcissistic relationship that he was in. Hey Annette, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Listen, I'm excited to have you on and hear your son and your story. We were talking just a second ago before we started recording, and I'm beginning to get really passionate about these kind of stories with narcissistic relationships and narcissistic women and abuse from women because of my own personal story that's happening right now. So I'm really looking forward to hearing your story today.
I thank you for allowing me to tell it. It really is an honor so that more people can understand what narcissistic women do, what narcissism does, period, to people.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, I will let you get started.
So I'm going to start before the day I lost my son, the day I found my son unalived. My son was in a relationship with a lady. I will say her first name because I'm at the point is I don't care. Her name is Sam. They were in a relationship. They have a child together. They were in a relationship for 7 years. And they actually lived as a husband and wife, a family. You would have never thought anything was wrong with their relationship. Ever would have thought that there was the deceit, the lies, as far as that my son did everything for her. My son cooked dinner for her. My son woke her up. Now, my son would spend 2-3 hours waking this girl up. My son worked, took care of their son. She never took care of her son. Like her son one time poured a bag of sugar on her while she was asleep, flour, so forth and so on. But anyway, my son had to work and have cameras installed in his house so he could work and babysit at the same time while mom was home.
My goodness.
But he still loved her. Again, like I say, if you and I were out in the street, you would have never known anything was going on in this relationship. But anyway, my son wanted to move on and build a ranch. And he bought some land in Tennessee to start building a ranch for him, his family, and he wanted to make this ranch for vets. He wanted to help vets with PTSD, help get them off the street, help save them because they've put their life on the line for us and done so much for each and every one of us. And he was like, Mom, they went over there. They didn't know me. They fought for me. What are they doing out here in the street? So my son really wanted to do something to give back to them. And
that's amazing.
And even had talked to her, are you into this? Well, my son gets the land. My son didn't have anything. I mean, I was living there. My youngest son was there. And of course he had her and his son. Anyway, he gets the land and he goes to Tennessee. And when he gets to Tennessee, the only thing he had was a generator, bag of clothes, and a machete. He started cutting down pine trees and clearing areas so that me and she could come with the machete. He cleared the acres to be able to put the horses that he had rescued, my child in a home, her in a home, and things to start building his ranch. So we get there and Again, you would never know anything was going on. She would be out there at first helping do this, do that, being a part of it, so forth and so on. Well, she gets a job working at night, and she just leaves like everything alone. But while she's in this job, she's playing head games with my son. We had agreed before we all moved to this property that her and I would work while my son worked on the property, because it had to be worked on. You know, we had to
Mm-hmm.
build fences, we had to clear it. It was an old pine tree farm in Tennessee
Yeah.
that he had bought. So we agreed to do this. Well, that became to where her text messages were, "You're just a sorry man. You're just this. You're just that." And my son is literally taking care of 2 kids, cleaning up a farm, taking care of 5 horses, building homes, cooking dinner, bathing children. You know, my son is doing all this. By
Yeah.
no means was he even sorry.
Right.
But anyway, this come on, and then she'd get mad and she'd blow up at him and say things to him. And then the next minute I'd turn around, they were lovey, they were kissing. She was wanting to have a baby with him. She was wanting to marry him. And then in 5 seconds, the page would turn. "Oh, you're just sorry. I don't want you. I don't need you." And this went on for months and months and months. So she had my son so down on himself. My son was now taking care of a mom who was getting over being hospitalized for black mold and fighting for her life, a brother, a son, clearing property, and going to work. My son never slept. My son was sick with pneumonia and still got up and was trying to go to work to do all this. And this girl was still saying things to my son, having her friends. My son walked in the store, and one of her friends that worked with her looked at my son and just said, "You're a piece of shit."
Unbelievable.
So, long story short, it kept on, and she came home one day. We had gone out, and I thought everything was okay between her and my son. And I was like, "Sam, you want to change the color of our hair? You want to dye our hair?" And she's like, "Yeah." So I bought her some hair dye and stuff like that. And when she dyed her hair, my son said, "Mom, Sam's having an affair on me." And I'm like, "What are you talking about, Timothy? I'm the one that bought her the hair dye. I'm the one that said you want to dye your hair. What are you talking about?" He's like,
Mm-hmm.
"Mom, last time she dyed her hair, she had an affair on me for 6 months. She's having an affair on me." I'm like, "No, she's not." Anyway, we left it at that, and he was laying on the couch one night. We had just got the boys to sleep, and he was laying there, and his phone vibrator. Well, you know, the ding sound from Bookface that comes on through Messenger.
Mm-hmm.
That ding sound came through, and Sam was having an affair with a married man.
Oh,
The wife
wow.
contacted my son
Oh, no.
of the man and said, "Do you know your wife is with my husband tonight?" So,
That's
of
like the
course, you
worst
know,
message to get to, because that's just like this sinking feeling in your stomach right then and there.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
like in an instant. So, again, where he's already feeling like he's a piece of crap. Now she's cheating on him. He knows this.
Yeah.
He leaves. And of course, all emotions going, he's flying out and everything like that. And the only thing I'm doing is holding the boys, praying to God that he hasn't killed somebody or himself because of that emotion at that time. Well, anyway, they come back, they work it out. They have their spat for a couple of days. They work it out. She's never going to cheat. She's never going to do this. It was just somebody that she was talking to and reaching out to because they had argued or something. So they get back. Well, my grandson is on his tablet, and all of a sudden another bing comes through.
Mm-hmm.
She has sent a message to the guy that she's supposedly not going to have an affair with. "Hey, babe, I'm at Walmart." So my grandson has seen this. 7 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Again, my son is like, he doesn't know what to think. She's back and forth. And then Of course, it even got to where she was going to leave him, trying to make the story a little bit faster. It even got to the point, well, I'll never have nothing to do with him. I'll quit my job. I'll do this. I'll do that. I'll quit hanging around with the lady that started all this, Vicky. I'll quit hanging around with her and stuff. The whole time that she's saying this to my son, she's going back telling these people that my son is beating her. My son has done this to her. My son has done that to her. She has no place to go. So the whole time that she's telling my son one thing, she's telling these people other things, so that they're also now bullying my son.
Yeah.
So my son
Classic.
is fighting a whole group of people now within
Yeah.
her room.
Mm-hmm.
So long story short, it keeps on. Well, it begins to get so bad that she begins creating birthday parties. So her and her friend Vicky has 2 children, you guys, that are autistic and they're nonverbal. They're going to create a birthday party. And they go and they tell my grandson, there's a birthday party. I'm going to take you to this birthday party. But for some reason, she didn't want to invite my youngest son, which is 10. She just
Mm-hmm.
wanted her son to go. Well, Bentley refuses to go if Delaney doesn't go. So Delaney ends up going. Well, they get to the birthday party. There's no birthday cake. There's no kid games. They've wrapped up boxes that have nothing in them and stuff. So my son texts my 10-year-old mom, I want to go. This isn't a birthday party. I don't know what's going on. And when he walks the first time into the kitchen, Sam and her boyfriend are in there making out.
Oh no.
So he runs out, and of course, he's calling me, Mom, this is going on, that's going on. I tell my son, my oldest son, he was at the house. I'm like, please tell Sam to bring Delaney home. Well,
Mm-hmm.
Delaney goes back in there to go to the bedroom to get something else. They are fully making out at this time, and my grandson is standing there, too. So the birthday party was invented so those 2 could be together with 2
Mm-hmm.
children there
Yeah.
and my son at home. Well, it goes from that to where now she's invented so that she can be with this guy. And now get you guys, they're still telling my son, she's still telling my son she loves him, she wants to be with him the whole time while she's doing this.
Yeah, of course.
So this time she admits that she needed to go to Walmart. Her and Vicky leave to Walmart. Then all of a sudden my grandson got sick, so she was going to stay with Vicky that night and see what was going on with Bentley. Well, it comes up in the middle of the night. She has to take Bentley to the emergency room. He was throwing up blood. So now my son is freaking out. She won't tell him what hospital. My son has gone to every hospital that was close by where she could have taken Bentley to,
Mm-hmm.
because he thinks his son's throwing up blood. So he gets home probably about 4:00 in the morning, and 2 hours later she pulls up with Bentley. And of course they're arguing back and forth about what happened and stuff like that. And I'm out there feeding the horses. And Bentley comes up to me and I'm like, Bentley, I heard you had to go to the doctor last night. He's like, Nana, I no go to no doctor. I'm like, you didn't go to the doctor. Your mom said you were that you had to go to the doctor. He's like, Nana, I no go to no doctor.
Mm-hmm.
So once they quit arguing and everything like that, Sam walks out there and I'm like, Sam, where's the emergency room discharge for Bentley, so I know if he needs some kind of medicine, I can go get it? Or when you go to work, how can we take care of him? Where's the discharge paper? Can I see it?
Mm-hmm.
She's like, oh, I left it in Vicky's car. I'm like, okay, so when you leave to Vicky's car, I can have that. So when Bentley's here with me, I know since he was throwing up blood, I don't want to give him the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Well, when that time came that Vicky got there, guess what? There was no discharge paper. It got to where, oh, Vicky threw it away. She never took my grandson to the hospital. She said a
Yeah.
lie to my son so that she could be with this man, and made it look like my grandson was really sick. Now, the whole time again, she's, I love you. I want to be with you. I don't want anything else. I want us to have a kid and everything. Within those words that she told my son, it flipped within minutes. She looked my son dead in his eyes and told my son that I've been making up my life with you for 7 years. I never wanted to be with you, and I don't even know why we have a kid.
Wow. I just don't understand how people can do that, like their heart and their soul, and I don't understand that. To me, like, I could never tell someone something like that and it not be true.
Exactly. But when you are a narcissistic woman or man,
Right.
when
Mhm.
you've already found your next, I say your next victim, your next prey, because it's
Yeah.
prey for them, that's how
Mhm.
you begin to act. You don't
Yep.
care about nothing but yourself at that point.
Yeah.
You've done nothing wrong. They're all the wrong.
Oh yeah, for sure. Mhm.
So and that's all in their brain. So she tells my son this, and then she leaves for 3 weeks. 3 weeks. Leaving my grandson. My grandson is on medicine. She never checked on him, never seen how he was doing during the whole 3 weeks. My son, I know that this is what started feeding into my son and his downfall. Was every time he'd walk into a store, he would ask somebody, who tells somebody after 7 years, 7 years, you never wanted a life with them, and you
Mhm.
don't even understand how you have a child. Who
Mhm.
says it? And my son is walking around telling everybody this.
Yeah.
Um, and she's gone, and I'm sitting here like, Timothy, I got you. Can you just go to defects, let them know that she's abandoned him, let her know this. Well, the whole time she's got my son convinced that she's sleeping in the woods trying to figure out things. Why she's with a man at her friend's house. The
Mhm.
whole time my son is, because she wouldn't answer the phone. Like my son would text her, when are you coming to see Bentley? When are you coming to do this? Or when are you coming to do that? Her excuse was, I'm in the woods. I can't get a signal.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I have all these text messages. I have all this. Um, so anyway, my son thinks, it's done. It's over. The night before everything started evolving, he looks at me and he says, yeah, Hayden's fixing to be a certain age, Mom. And I have Bentley. When I have both my boys, I think I'm just gonna move to Florida with both my boys and just disappear with my boys. And
Mhm.
I'm like, yeah, Timothy, if you think that's what you want to do, maybe do it. At least
Yeah.
you got your boys with you.
Right.
Um, so he leaves after telling me that, and he goes to work and everything. And I'm thinking, okay, he's finally gonna just tell her to, go. I'm thinking this in my head.
Mhm.
So he leaves and goes to work, and he comes in that morning, and he's talking to me, and he's like, Mom, I just want my wife home. I just want my wife to know how much I love her. I want my family, Mom. I was trying to do something good, Mom, to show my family how much I love them, Mom. And I'm sitting there, Timothy, I got you. I got you. Let her go. I got you. I promise I got you. And we started talking about, because the horses that he had, they needed hay and alfalfa. And honestly, to this day, I don't know why he still trusts her, because she's done stole his paycheck from him to spend on another man. You name it, she took it out of his accounts without his knowing about it. But he still sent her money to go pay for the horses' hay and alfalfa, which she never got it, never did anything. Anyway, we're back and forth, and I'm like, Timothy, I didn't ask anything. I'm like, okay. But anyway, my son hadn't been down to their house. He had been staying up with me during the time that she was gone for the 3 weeks. He would be in the van. All he did was go to work, come home, sit in the van, smoke cigarettes, listen to radio, get up, pace, then leave and go to work. That's how my son's routine was. Um, but that morning, he did come in and talk to me about everything, and he did go down to his house, and I heard this loud sound. Um, and I called him, and I'm like, Timothy, are you okay? He's like, yeah, Mom, I just decided to go down here and clean up the house and clean the van up some, clean up after the animals. I'm like, okay. And I'm like, don't forget that the horses need hay. I need to feed the horses. And he's like, okay, I'll text Sam. Well, a couple hours went by, and again, my son hadn't been to his place, and I walked down there and I opened up the door. And his couch, when you opened up his front door, it sat directly in front of the couch, like you could see. You didn't have to walk through the house or nothing. So I opened the door and I seen him laying there. I thought he was asleep, and I know he
Yeah.
hadn't been sleeping and stuff like that. So I just kind of closed the door and didn't want to bother him. So I went back to
Yeah.
my house. And then a few minutes later, I seen him come up and grab a cigarette. And I'm like, okay, he's just going to grab a cigarette. He's going to go back down there and chill out.
Yeah.
So a couple hours later, I text him again. I need to feed the horses. We need to go get alfalfa or whatever. And I didn't get a response. And at that time, both of the boys had got up and they were arguing or whatever they did. They're kids,
Yeah.
So I looked at his son, Bentley. And I told Bentley, can you please go down to your house and tell your dad that we're all going to go get alfalfa. You guys, sorry, I'm going to be pausing a lot. This is the hardest part of my whole story to get through. But my grandson all of a sudden is running up, and you guys, I hear the most horrific scream that anybody in their entire life, and I still hear these screams to this day, could ever hear. And my grandson, he had a speech impediment, and my 10-year-old could actually understand him better than any of us. He actually was in speech. And my 10-year-old says, Mom, he says his dad is hanging. He's swinging. He's swinging, Mom. So, my 10-year-old takes off, you guys, and I'm grabbing my grandson, and I'm running. I'm just running, everybody. I don't think I could run fast enough. And my son opens up the door, and like I said, my son's couch faced the front door. And there was my son hanging there. He's just hanging there. I grab up my son and I'm pulling him up, trying to loosen up the noose on his neck. And I have two little kids. I'm screaming, give me a knife, give me a knife. They're screaming too. And I don't know how I got the knife or the razor blade in my hand to this day. I've tried thinking, and I don't know how. But I cut my son down. I watched my son fall to the ground with no life. No life. And I got my 10-year-old trying to call 911. I'm trying to give my son mouth-to-mouth resuscitation by holding these two boys. And I'm screaming for help. And nobody heard me. Nobody hears me. And then, finally, the police get there. And he takes over, and I'm still holding these two little boys. And I'm scared, and I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I can't breathe. I just feel like my soul is just gone. It's just gone. And all I'm doing is asking God, please not my son. Please not my son. Anyway, I get up there because the ambulance finally gets there, and the gentleman tells me, the mom of your grandson is here. And I walk up there, we had a generator that helped power the houses because the son was kind of trying to live off grid. And she's standing there by this generator, and I look at her holding these two kids, and I look at her and I told her, "You killed my son. You killed my son." She looked at me and she said, these were her exact words, "I didn't kill your son. He killed himself." I didn't say nothing. I walked off because the captain was there. They were asking some kind of questions. The only thing they ever asked me was, what kind of drugs was your son on? What did your son drink? My son never did drugs. My son never drank. And then they were asking me about her name in the phone and who was she to him. And I told them. Of course, she was standing right there. I said, "This is her." And they were supposed to question her. That never happened or anything like that. But anyway, you guys, I get up there where my son's body was. The ambulance couldn't back out to turn around to bring my son's body in. They had to literally back out, put my son's body in a pickup truck, and back him out before they could even put him in the ambulance. So we're all at the top. And this girl is there. And they're like, "Ma'am, we need you to go over there with the coroner and claim the body, please." So, of course, I go over there, and she's going to walk, and the police officers stop me. They're like, she doesn't have any claim to this. I'm like, "No, I want her to see what she did to my son." So anyway, she's over there, crying all over my son's body. "Why did you do this? I loved you. You were the love of my life. I don't know how I'm supposed to go on with my life. We're going to make your ranch happen. We're going to call it this. We're going to call it that." So they zip my son up, and they put him in the back of the ambulance, and they got to take my son to Nashville for autopsy and so forth and so on. Within that time frame of them just leaving, I want to say maybe an hour or whatever, she grabs my grandson's hand. They walk to the end of the road, and another man is in the truck, and they leave, and I haven't seen my grandson since.
Wow.
Yep. Yep.
Oh my gosh.
From what I hear, my grandson is made to call this person dad and all kind of stuff.
That's
You guys,
unbelievable.
I found out within 48. No, this. I'll even tell you the aftermath of this narcissist. Whatever she is, entity. After this, okay, my son leaves with the guy and everything. Of course, my sister is there now and stuff. They had, the property was in their name and stuff like that. Well, I had told you before, like, I didn't understand why my son trusted her with getting the hay, because she had already taken money from my son. She not only had taken money, but anyway, she told me that she was talking to the landowner about a payment that they were behind on, seeing how she could fix that and make everything right. And I'm like, "I don't understand this. Timothy just paid this." So anyway, my sister and them are there, and I called the land company to talk to the land company to find out what's going on and stuff like that. She's over there taking her name off the property.
That fast?
Yes, that fast. So I'm dealing with all that. Like I told you, there was a generator there. At this point, my daughter has gotten there. Um, she knew that Delaney was there, and she knew that my son was kind of off the grid. We used the generator for power, electricity, everything. Well, the generator was again in my son's name and in her name. My son again wasn't even gone 48 hours or so. She then tried to have the generator pulled away from us that they were leasing. My daughter stopped that. Then all kind of stuff started coming at me. Well, anyway, I haven't even gotten my son's ashes. He still had the autopsy. No, he was at the funeral home. I had just seen my son's body once he returned from the autopsy. My daughter had finally left to get Delaney, away from everything and stuff that was going on. And I had stayed behind so I could get my son's ashes and stuff like that. This girl not only left on the property with this man after my son hadn't even been gone a week. She brought the man back to the property, to the house my son built for them.
Unbelievable.
Yes. And it keeps on, and it doesn't stop. It doesn't stop. So because of everything that I've gone through, the hurt, the pain, the feeling alone, the trauma and everything, like you, Paige, I've built a ranch called Legacy Ranch.
Yeah.
Legacy Ranch will help people and let people know they're not alone when they're going through this. Legacy Ranch will give people a place to go to help survive these narcissistic people, these bullies, whatever you want to call them, so that everybody knows. And when we get into narcissistic relationships, they pull our family from us. They make us think nobody loves us. They make us think that everybody is against us. They make us think that, which puts us in a depression that nobody understands. Nobody gets. Because of what they believe.
Unless you've been through it, you do not understand the level of anxiety, depression, isolation, all the things that they put you into.
Exactly. It gives you PTSDs and all kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So because of everything I've been through and what I've been through, no matter how many tears I cry, I hope that my son's story saves a life. A narcissistic woman took my son's life.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an unbelievable story because like I said before we started recording, my own personal life that I'm dealing with, and I don't want to get too much into it on here because I don't know if she listens to my podcast or not, and I'm not trying to create any more drama for the situation at hand.
I agree.
But it's very difficult what is going on right now, and she just, the drama that she has caused and created while she is going on and living her happy little life and being with the person that she's with, and she's happy and they have all the things, and then on the other side it is turmoil and trauma and heartbreak and misery and depression and anxiety and isolation and belittling and unworthiness and feeling little and feeling like there's no self-worth and having nothing. It's mind-blowing to me that there's no fucks given on her side. It's just like, how can someone live so just carefree and happy knowing that you are causing all of this pain to not just one person? It is the person that the main person you're doing it to, the people in their lives, your children. It's like, it's this ripple effect. There's so many other people affected by what you're doing to this one person, and you just don't give a fuck. It just, it baffles me to no end, and it has literally lit such a fire under my ass to research and look into and find out as much information as I can about narcissistic women and abusive women and the difference between men and women narcissists, because there's such a
Yeah.
huge difference that I mean, I thought, oh, narcissistic people, they're all the same. No, there's so much difference in a narcissistic woman versus a narcissistic man that I didn't realize, because I've been through a narcissistic relationship and I was like, oh, I know how to handle this. No, ma'am, I did not. I absolutely did not. It is totally different. And if you think you know how to handle a narcissistic woman versus a narcissistic man, I beg you to look into it, because the difference will shock you.
Yep.
There's a huge difference. It has literally lit a fire under my ass for not only looking into how to handle narcissistic women, but men's mental health in general, because it is not talked about enough. I don't feel like enough men feel comfortable enough or safe enough to talk about their mental health. And it has just lit a fire under me to like pull and like, let's talk about it. Let's research it. Let's look into it. Let's make them feel more comfortable, because we're losing too many because they're not comfortable to talk about it. And I'm not willing to lose another one. I'm not.
Me neither. I'm there with you. I'm not either. I'm right there with you. And I won't stop.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna stop. Paige, I have so much stuff thrown at me by my middle children that don't understand and stuff. Like, I'm fighting them out here, but I'm not gonna stop.
Yeah.
Their voices are gonna be heard if it's the last thing that I do on the face of this earth.
Yeah.
And you and I bringing this awareness and giving people a place to turn to is gonna make a change.
Yeah.
It's gonna make a change.
I'm willing to fight her tooth and fucking nail before I lose another one.
That's me. That's why, when I first started this, my thing was my justice to Journey. I wanted to start my son's dream.
Yeah.
I want justice for my son, and I want my grandson.
Right, yeah. I mean, I feel like you have every... there's the grandparents' rights. You have every right to see him.
Yes. Eventually I will get all that, but the one thing, she might be walking around enjoying her life, and my son may not have that opportunity anymore.
Yeah.
And she may have my grandson right now, but the one thing that she didn't take from my son was his dream.
Right. Yeah.
And I will make my son's dream come through. I will help people if my son wanted to in every way that I possibly can. I will let people know how much they matter.
Yeah.
And that they're not alone.
Yeah, I feel like
because in a narcissistic relationship, you feel alone.
Oh yeah, for sure, 100%. Yeah, I felt it when I was with mine, and I was only with my ex-husband, who was abusive, mentally, emotionally, physically, all the things, for a little under a year and a half, and it took me almost 4.5 years to overcome that. So I can. No, you're fine. So I can only imagine how long 7 years in a relationship, because 7 years was how long he was, my son's father was in the relationship as well. I can only imagine how long 7 years is going to take to get over.
We've met people through Legacy Ranch that have phenomenal stories too, that have been in it for over 20 and trying to learn how to get out of it. Yeah. It's just so hard.
It is. It literally took me almost 4.5 years to really get over like the difficult, the trauma, the triggering, all of those things. Like, I still have small triggers here and there. And his biggest thing with me was he tried to strangle me one night. And I still, like, you will see me constantly like pulling t-shirts away from my neck. I can't wear tight necklaces, anything like that. And t-shirts, I'm always, if they get too close to my neck, I'm constantly pulling them away. That's still a huge trigger for me. And my kids even know, like, not to put their hands around my neck too tight. Anybody that's, knows my situation or knows not to hug me too tight around my neck, because it's like an instant trigger for me. I cannot handle it. It's like, nope, And if my son does, if either of my children hug me too tight around my neck, like I'll instantly pull their arm down, and they're like, "Oh,
Right.
sorry," and then I'm like, "It's okay, it's fine. It just, I have to pull it away," and they understand, they know because my kids are 14 and 9, and I'm very open and honest with them about things that I've been through because I don't want them to grow up and be men that are horrible. I want them to grow up and be
Right.
respectful and honest and communicate and talk about their feelings and not be these piece of shit men that are out here in this world. So I'm raising men. I'm not raising boys. I always say that. And
That's me.
so I have been very open and honest with them about things that I have been through, so they know, like, we don't hug mom too tight around the neck because it's a trigger for her because of what she's been through. But I'm age appropriate with what they know too, over the years. But it's hard. It's extremely difficult to overcome things like that, and until you're ready to work through it and deal with it, nobody can make you. And I think that's the hardest part of all of it too, though.
But sometimes we're scared to go through that. Like me, I was scared to
Yeah.
be open, be honest, because I didn't come to a funk. If my two middle children didn't care, why would anybody else? I didn't come to that point.
Yeah.
But using the horses and using horse therapy
Oh my gosh,
started pulling
yes.
me
Mm-hmm.
more and more and more to where now, like, that's why I look at the horses. I know that's my safe spot.
Yeah.
I know I'm safe there. Um, so that's why, like, I offer all of this for free. I cannot put a price tag on anybody's mental health. I will not do that.
Yeah.
And I will not put a price tag on anybody's life. I'm here for free. You don't have to pay me. Because even when I was looking for grieving counselors or looking for this outlet for my 11-year-old who's autistic, the price tag on it was ridiculous.
Oh, I'm sure.
And yeah, I'm like, how can you do that? He is a child. How can you do this?
Yeah.
So yeah, the horses are what has helped us. And my son literally trained all of them. He saved them from slaughter.
Yeah.
They were going to be killed. One was pregnant and everything.
Oh.
So without them, I probably wouldn't be where I'm at today. So that's why I tell everybody that's Legacy Ranch is nonprofit. We are free. I'm
Yeah.
not charging. I'm going to have cabins out there and stuff. Like you said, some of us can't get over pain in a day. Some
Yeah.
of us can't get over it in an hour. And
Takes
if
years.
we're literally, yeah, trying to get over, and we have kids, a relationship that has just put us down so bad that we don't know who we are, we're not going to get over that in a week, 2 weeks. That takes time.
Mm-mm.
And
No.
I want to be that place where they know they got that time to get it together and they're not alone.
Yeah.
Because that's one of the worst places that you can be when you're going through something is the lonely spot. And that's when we begin to see people harm themselves. They start cutting on themselves. They start burning themselves. They start unaliving themselves
Yeah. Yep.
because they still feel alone.
Yeah, and they feel helpless. They feel like there's no way out, and that's the worst place to be. I mean, I've been there. I've felt that, and the only reason I'm still here, I've said this many, many times, is my children. I cannot put my children and my parents. I couldn't put my children or my parents through that. I just could not do that to them.
Right.
I just couldn't. I mean, I know my mom and my dad would just, I'm an only child too. So like the fact of, leaving my parents without their only child and leaving I mean, I've been a single mom for a long time. My kids' dads are in the picture. They're there, but I'm the main source of, parenting and providing and all of that. Like, they're with me more than they're with their dads. So there's just no way. Like, I could just never put them through that. That's the only reason I'm still here and still going most of the time when I've been in my deepest, my darkest places, is them.
And that's amazing
Mm-hmm.
because some of us get so deep dark in that spot, whether like my son's world was his two children, believe it or not, even though he did what he did, that he loved his boys,
Yeah.
but he just felt like he was doing them a favor because, like, I have the last thing that he wrote. I had that. And the one thing he tells his boys is, no, I fought my hardest fight that I ever could fight because
Yeah.
I loved you.
Yeah. It's
So,
unfortunate
it
and
just,
sad.
yeah. So I want to be that person that hopefully nobody goes through what my son went through, nor I've gone through.
Right.
Just want to be that person
Yeah.
to let you know it's okay not to be okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So tell everybody where they can find you and where exactly Legacy Ranch is located.
Legacy Ranch right now is in Social Circle, Georgia. Probably up until the middle of October, I want to say.
Okay.
Then the ranch will be moving to either Kentucky or West Virginia.
Ooh, I'm in Kentucky.
Yeah. Yes.
So I would love to see
And
that. Yeah.
That's when we begin building.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Kentucky is amazing. Listen, we're the horse capital of the world. So, Kentucky is an incredible place. I'm in central Kentucky. I'm around the Lexington area. So, which
That's where
is,
we were looking at a place near there.
yeah, that's what
Marion.
the other girl that I spoke to about you initially was telling me. Yeah. So it's a pretty incredible area. So, yeah, we would love to
Yeah,
have you, and we would love to have you in this area for sure.
oh, I'm so excited. I can't wait to start seeing the buildings go up, and I can't wait because Legacy Ranch is going to save lives.
Yeah.
Legacy Ranch is going to let people know how much they're loved and that they matter, no matter what you're going through.
Yeah.
And that together, voices are going to be heard, and maybe it'll be one less narcissistic person in the world that we all have to deal with.
Agreed. Yeah, totally agree. So where can people find you on social media if they want to reach out to you?
I'm on Facebook under Legacy Ranch, and right now TikTok. And once we get moved and everything, we'll have a bigger webpage
Okay.
and everything. Right now, we don't want to put all that out there until we're settled.
Gotcha.
Then
Understood.
we have all we started putting hoodies out. We do have hoodies too.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
different things.
Well, I will definitely link everything in the show notes for sure. And then once you guys get settled, I will definitely keep my followers and listeners updated so they can reach out to you for sure. And we'll definitely stay in contact because once you guys get moved, hopefully it's to Kentucky, I definitely want to come out and support you guys as much as possible because I think what you're doing is absolutely amazing. And I think it is incredible. So
We would be honored to have you out there.
yeah, for sure. Thank
It would be
you.
an honor. Yeah, because we're both doing kind of the same thing, and it is an honor. And it's an honor to have been on here.
Yeah, well, thank
I can't
you.
thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. I really appreciate you coming on and sharing your story today.
You're very welcome. Stay amazing, beautiful.
You too. Thank you. Hold on for
And
one
I'm
second.
always here.
Okay. Thank you guys so much for another fabulous season of Creating Yourself podcast. I can't believe another season has come to an end and we are wrapping up season 3. It's been amazing. I'm super honored to close out another season with you guys listening. If you do not follow me on social media, you know what to do. Head over to all social media platforms, search up Creating Yourself podcast, and follow me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and now YouTube. I'm going to be taking about a 2-month break, closing out the year with family and friends, and just spending time with my kiddos. And I will be back at the beginning of 2025 with a brand new, incredible season of Creating Yourself podcast. Thanks, guys. Bye.